we are having so picture so I'll be then dealing with the concept of and about the ethical relationship model. I told you before that our major aim of having databases, of course, the things like integrity. Am I audible? You can please respond on the.
Okay, sir.
So, the issue is we know pretty well that there are certain problems with convention file format, that the data integrity will not be there, data is isolated there, you cannot impose the integrity constraints, concurrency problem, all these things are there. That is one aspect we have studied. And from another important view, we know that we wanted a query independent representation of the data. Because see, using convention file processing to answer any query, you need an input file, you need an output file, and you have to run a program, either in C or COBOL or whatever the file processing language is, right? So that kind of processing is needed. Whereas with a database, suppose if you say that I need so and so field, so and so field, so and so field with so and so condition satisfied, just get me that data simply in a very comfortable queryable language, if you could put, and if you are able to get the data instantaneously, that means you should not write the program. Just you wanted to say yes, select the name and roll number of the students whose total is greater than 60. It's a simple English statement, right? So if you can say that just the field names, if you could mention, select those field names from so and so table, satisfying the condition. Like if you give straight away the query, if you are able to get the answer, that is more convenient and more number of users can use it. You can move to the front. So that is a very comfortable aspect, right? So if you could design your database in such a way that just by giving very simple queries, you are able to get the answer instantaneously without writing any program. Then the usability of that software increases. Last one. Right, first one. నేను ఇప్పుడు మీ వైపు తిరిగి చెప్తున్నా కదా, అందుకని మీరు ఎక్కడ నిద్రపోయినా నాకు కనిపిస్తారు. అందుకని ముందుకు వచ్చింది. అదే ఇటు తిరిగి కూర్చున్నాను అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు మీరు అందరూ నిద్రపోయినా నేను చూడను. I can comfortably sleep, but you miss that function. Right, do the right. Comfort. వచ్చేయండి, 2 hours ఆక్యుపై చేయాలి మీరు. టైం వేస్ట్ చేయదు. సో లాస్ట్ రో చూడండి, ఇక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఇక్కడ వచ్చాను. ఈ రోజు ఆక్యుపేషన్ అంటే మరీ భయం అంటే so in this case, without writing any program, if you could just by giving what you want just by mentioning, if you are able to get the things comfortably, then the usability of that package increases, right? Anybody uses a package that is more user friendly, that needs less technical knowledge, If you could develop a package in such a way, people will accept. So, how to build that kind of thing? We said the table is the data structure we are using, and you have to go ahead with it, right? So, you will be using the table data structure for that. So, the how to model it first of all. Because logical level, if you have a high level modeling, then it is very convenient for you to deal with the rest of the things. Then you can think of how this can be translated into the physical model. So the logical modeling here is entity relationship model. So that means you will get data independence, or rather a data independent of query if you want to represent it. You consider the system as a combination of entities. So the system consists of some entities, okay, and there will be a kind of relationship existing among the entities. So like that, if you model the system, okay, then you will have a fixed modeling. It is not, because previously what is that, if I ask you, you develop the payroll package, then you are looking for what files are needed as input, what file is needed as output, you are looking at getting the input file, then developing the code and all. Now such kind of problem will not be there for you. That means it's not because of the modeling, because you will model it initially, you will use that model from your side, whereas the database administration package, the database management system, the Dbms package will take care of converting it into file commands. Unless it is converted as a file command, you can't run anything. That's not possible for you. So, in order to facilitate that, it is another level of abstraction from users. So, you can just simply say, I need this, and simply will get it. So, the conversion into file system commands and all, everything will be taken by the database management system. Okay. So, for that sake, the system is considered as a set of entities that have fixed relations amongst them. Because once the system is there among the entities, you will have both the fixed and static and dynamic relations. Static relation means the fixed relations. Dynamic relations means with the flow of data, it changes. How it changes and all, we will see this in a short while. Then, what is an entity first of all? How many of you know what is meant by an entity? Can anybody answer me? Very one thing. That exists and distinguishability. Very good. Here, distinguishability is an important point here. One has to remember. Why means, suppose you are in a class. I am sitting in my chamber. Sitting in my chamber, I can pinpointedly pick up a person. I can pinpointedly pick up a person and say, call him. Okay. But suppose in my next room there are 100 water bottles. Okay. I can't say you specifically bring that bottle, because all bottles look alike, all are 1 liter bottles only, all are Kinley make bottles, or all are Jntuk water bottles. Then I can't distinguish. They are separable but not distinguishable. Do you know the difference between separable and distinguishable? Because the 100 bottles, they are all each separable, but you can't distinguish because all look alike. But why students are distinguishable? Because you can identify a student with his roll number, name, other features and all, right? So that means you have certain qualities that uniquely qualifies you. Whereas these bottles do not have any such quality that uniquely identifies them. Every bottle has got the same size, same content of water, same dimensions, everything are identical. There is no distinguishability there. So distinguishability comes through certain specific properties. So suppose on the bottle, if I say number 1, 2, 3 like 100, if I number them, then you will have a bottle number which is a distinguishable property. Then that becomes an entity. See, if you remember, if you go to the rural areas and all, you will find some trees on the roadside. Some mango trees, some coconut trees, everything. While I was in school and all, while going on the road, I was thinking, what is that? On every coconut tree, they used to put 220, 221, 222, like some number was there. I was thinking, what for these people are numbers? Okay, there is a R&D property. So they will distinguish the coconut trees or mango trees, and they say that the yield from this is this much. The income by selling the coconuts is this much, like they have to show for accounting. So in order, then how do they distinguish? If there are 1,000 coconut trees in their vicinity, they have to give a number. So they number it. So that means you need to give an attribute, a value for that to be distinguishable. Okay, that is how you have to manage this show. Then, how do you get this kind of distinguishability? Means for remaining things, it is inherent and not. Suppose if I say student is an entity, teacher is an entity. So the attributes that describe a student are roll number, name, your marks, date of joining, branch, year, your native place, your address, something. Okay, these are all attributes. Then for a teacher, his name, his ID, his employee ID, and his branch name. These are all his designation, his area of specialization. These are all his qualification. These are all certain attributes that makes a teacher distinguishable. Like this, in the system, the entities exist. Now, what is meant by the fixed relation? Here, the entities are independent of each other. There is no connection among any of these entities. But only thing is, these independent entities will participate in some relation. Then only some connectivity comes into picture. Because today, as I am teaching you the database management systems, we are connected. Suppose if I do not teach Dbms to you people, I am an entity on my own. You are the students. There is no connection between us. Right? Now we have a connection because I teach database management systems. Now here, what happens is, so the teacher entity has an association with the student entity, right? Do you agree? So because of this association, and please remember this is a fixed association. How do you say that this is a fixed relation and static relation? Because in any system, a teacher teaches the student. That is the business process laws. Okay? A student enrolls for a course. A student gets registered for examinations. These are all the things that happen because of the business process laws. So you will be narrating the entire functioning of the system. And once you narrate the functioning of the system, you come across certain nouns. They are nothing but your objects. And the nouns will have qualifying attributes. Because if I narrate about the university system, what I say, every year students appear for a competitive exam. Some candidates appear for a competitive exam. Then amongst them certain people will be selected. They become the students of Jntuk Kakinada. Okay. Certain faculty are there. We have 5 departments. There are faculty in each and every department. So, department is a noun. It's an entity. Faculty, noun, an entity. Student is a noun, an entity. Right? And then you will explore to describe these entities, what are all the attributes. Because once the students get admitted, What information you collect from him, his name you get, his native place, etc., etc. You generate a roll number and give it to him. All these things happen. So they are all the attributes for the thing. Similarly, teacher is there means once you recruit a professor, what are all things you do? So what are all the attributes that are needed for the functional? Okay, because you why the attributes that are needed for the functionality, I want to give a distinction. Suppose you are a student, so we are concerned about your merit, your marks, or your other publications and all as far as academic systems. But whereas suppose you go for athletics, then I need to have your height, weight, chest expansion, your BP, your other sugar levels and all, your hemoglobin level, all these things I need. Because if you are going to participate in sports, there I don't require your marks or grade or something. Okay. And as far as your academics are concerned, I don't bother about your blood group, your BP, your sugar or whatever. Right? I don't need it for my purpose. So the attributes differ. So the attributes are relevant for the business only, you will consider for the entity. Okay. So now, so you will have these are the building blocks, entity, relationship, model building blocks are entities, and relationships. How the relationships will go also will differ. But I have given you the very preliminary idea of what is meant by entity. Now, one more concept I have to impart on you very clearly is the concept of keys. Because as soon as we start with entities, immediately then you will underline something, some attribute there. Then automatically I have to say it is a key. So I am talking about the concept of a key also. Key means I said for an entity you have several attributes that will make you distinguishable, right? Now, here is, okay, you have a set of attributes that make an entity. Suppose for a student you have some 12 to 15 attributes. Fine. Now, here key means, please follow very clearly, key means a minimal set of attributes. Key is nothing but a minimal set of attributes that uniquely identifies a row or an entity. Because each entity is represented by a row in your table. Because I said student is an entity. Okay. So you are 60 students in this class. So your 60 students file, if I maintain, that will be an entity set. File of those students' records is an entity. Okay. So entity means an individual entity. So nothing but one specific record is one entity. Okay, in your table. Okay. So you can uniquely identify the entity. Suppose what are all the minimal set of attributes that uniquely identify. That means, suppose if I say roll number, can you have two persons with roll number? No. So roll number can be a key for you. Okay. Then another thing is, if I say Aadhaar number. So Aadhaar number also is unique. No two people will have same Aadhaar number. So Aadhaar number is also a key. Okay. So here I said the minimal set of attributes. What is meant by minimal set? Less than that, less than those attributes set, or rather a subset of that attribute set cannot uniquely identify. That is the minimal set. So here it's a single attribute of, and null set will never be a key, you know better. So it's a single attribute. Next thing is, suppose I tell you name. Okay. Suppose name is unique for no two people have the same name, that is fine. So you can say that name is also a key. But again, it depends on the situation. Okay. Let us suppose in our specific set, There are some people with the same name, but their surnames are different. So suppose I say instead of having a single attribute name, I have surname, first name, middle name. Let us suppose I have decomposed into three attributes, not a single attribute. Then last name and first name together if I consider. Suppose there are two persons with the name Ramakrishna. Okay. There is no middle name for them. Both are Ramakrishna. But their last names differ. Surnames differ. So in such case, similarly there are some very popular names. Apparao, Ramarao. These are all very common names. Okay, many people will have. But their surnames differ very much. So your first name alone is not a key, but I say your surname and first name together is uniquely identifying letters. Then you can say first name. That is the minimal set. Here because I want to explain you the concept of minimal set. Your surname and first name together is forming a key. Because they together uniquely identify. Because if I say only first name, you do not have that uniqueness. You do not have that uniqueness there. Because same first name is there for two people. So that is not, that field fails to uniquely identify a row. There are two rows. If I say only first name is the key, it is failed. But if I say first name and last name together is the key, then it is not failed. The combination is unique. So that means the minimal set here is last name and first name. So any minimal set of attributes that uniquely determines a row is called a key. Then you may ask me the next question. What if at some time there are a lot of keys? Yes, there is a good possibility that you can have multiple keys for a table. So here what you will do is, you will declare, suppose you have multiple number of keys there, you will declare one key as primary key. So that is your choice to choose the primary key. Because key aspect is natural, depends on the business process. Because in your business, roll number is unique, so it is determining it has become the key. Similarly, Aadhaar ID is unique, so it is the key. So this all comes through functionality. Okay. Similarly, in your system specifically, last name and first name together is unique. No two people had a combination of last name and first name same. Okay. So that's why it is a key. So like this, I have three keys for the same entity. Now it is your choice to declare one key as the primary. It's up to you. It is only human declaration. You may feel that yes, roll number is a very important thing. So let us consider roll number as the key. Because for students, dealing with roll number is more appropriate. You may say, why Aadhaar number? Can I not declare Aadhaar number as primary key? You can declare, no doubt about it. But you go generally logically. But suppose outside you are a student, you apply for some scholarship to the government. Then government will ask you your Aadhaar number. There they consider primary key as Aadhaar. Then you may say, sir, I have my roll number, I am identified. Your roll number is confined to your college only. Once you are out, you need to have a unique ID, that is your Aadhaar. So, there in the population database and the Aadhaar number is considered as primary. Okay. So logically, basing on the system here, logically which key will have more prominence in the business process, that will be declared as the primary key. It's your declaration, the primary key. And the rest all are called the candidate keys. They are called simply keys or candidates. Composite key means a key that consists of multiple attributes in the company. Roll number is a single attribute, it's not a composite. Okay? key means is not a special kind of key like primary key or secondary. A key that consists of more number of attributes is called composite. So you should not get confused with this concept. Okay. So your last name plus first name is a composite. Is a candidate key, it's a composite. Because you have multiple attributes. Okay. So this is a very, very important fundamental concept you are supposed to essentially have about it. Okay. So now coming into picture, the entity relationship model. Now we'll start. Today I will have the session till 3 o'clock only. I have a meeting scheduled. So your overview of database design is you have to participate in requirement analysis and conceptual database design, logical database design. You will choose which database to implement and convert the database design into database schema. Schema refinement is normalization, and then the physical database design and the security design. These are the components of this is the overview of database design. So requirement analysis in the sense you will look at what data to be stored and the application narration, how you have to build the application. You will have the narration of the entire logic and all. So the requirements, functional requirements and all you will discuss, and what operations you are required subjected to performance requirements. You will have all operational requirements. Then you will go for conceptual database design. That is the description of the data. Then high-level modeling tools such as your entity relationship model and all will come into picture. So your ER modeling is the aspect of conceptual database. Okay, it's not the physical one. Then the logical database design is you will to choose which database to implement, and you convert your ER modeling design into database. Because if I say the conceptual schema is, I told you, that is conceptual schema is your ER model. So in ER model, what you will have? You will have just simply the entities and how the relationships are there. This is like a flow chart, your ER model. Okay. How your flow chart will help you? Looking at the flow chart, you will have a conceptual schema, and then you will write what modules to be fixed and all you will find out, and you will do code. Here also, looking at your ER model, that is, I say teacher, teacher says student, I will show the ER diagram. Okay. So what are all the attributes of the teacher, what are the attributes of student, I will put on either side. And because of this relationship, certain attributes are. Because I teach the teacher, I am a teacher, I am teaching the student. Which subject I am teaching? Dbms. Which year, which semester I am teaching? 2016, first semester. Okay. So these are all the attributes. How these things have come? These things have come only because of relation. If I do not teach you, they don't arise. They do not arise. Because I will have my attributes like my name, my ID, everything. You will have your own ID, everything. Because we formed a relationship amongst ourselves, this relationship set attributes that I am teaching so and so subject. Because today I may teach you this. Tomorrow for somebody else I may teach big data, for somebody else I may teach something else. So it all depends. Okay. So now that is your conceptual database design. So your ER diagram will depict how logical things are there, what kind of relation will have one-to-one, one-to-many, we need to have discussed. Those relations, how they will be there, and all will come into picture. Okay. Now, then you have to have the description of the data. Okay. And high-level modeling tools such as ER models. ER modeling can be done through some tools also. You have automated tools to do the ER design. If you give the description straight away, My system is like this. Similarly, that package will draw you the ER diagrams. Have such automated package. I will need to. Okay. And now having obtained these ER diagrams, then you will go for physical database. So you will go for logical database. Logical database design is exact tables. What are the tables, the key for those tables, everything you will define. Is it one-to-one relation, one-to-one relation, kind of things and all. There will be, and which database management system to choose, and then convert the conceptual ER model into database schema. In our subject now in ER modeling, we will see ER modeling. Then how do you translate them into tables also? Because with some kind of constraint is there, how table comes into picture. If you have a key constraint, the table design will be a bit different. Without key constraint, the table design will be in a different fashion. So depending on certain components, the conceptual design differs. So you will have the database schema. Then the other step is schema refinement. That means normalization we will see later, because you just choose ER modeling and that's fine. But ER modeling is not unique. It's an art, basically. So ER model can differ in the same system. With a different concept, you can model it. There is no unique ER model you can get. So you will translate that into tables. But is this translation appropriate or not? To check the normalization. Okay. So through normalization, we will see normalization also. Through normalization, how we will be getting the schema refined, we will look at it. Then comes the physical database. We analyze the workload, refine the database designed to meet performance criteria. That means sometimes to answer the queries and all, you have to create some indices. And sometimes the normalization BCNF or 3NF is the ideal one. But sometimes in view of performance, you will confine to second number. That is possible sometimes. So, and how we have to create indices, and you will refine the design to meet the performance criteria. Then you will look into the security design. That means these tables, who should see these tables? Who should operate these tables? Different roles you will create for different database users, and you take care of the database level security. You take care of row level security also, and kind of entire security also. So these are the aspects that are involved in the database design. Next slide, please. Next one. So now ER model is used at this stage. What are the entities and relationships I have defined? And integrity constraints are business rules that hold. A database schema in the ER model can be represented pictorially, and we can map ER diagram into a relation schema. What is meant by integrity constraint? You will impose certain business rules. We will see. They are called the integrity constraints. We will see how they will be subsequently. Okay. Next slide, please. Now in the ER model, entity is represented with a rectangle, and the attributes are represented with the ellipses, and attribute names will be mentioned. Okay. See, a real world object distinguishable from other objects is an entity, because these definitions I have already told you. Entity set also a collection of similar entities. All employees. That's what I told you. Student set. So it will be like employees is an entity set. Okay. Now here, one thing you have to remember. You have one underlined one SSN. Right. So what is meant by that? The underlined one is it. Here SSN means what? Social security number. So it is equivalent to your Aadhaar number here in India. In developed countries or US, you will have something called social security number. The moment you are born, you will get the social security number in United States, or the moment you get a job in United States, you will get a social security. all immigrants and dependents and all will not have a social security. The people who are employed in US, the people who are born in US, though they are employed, if they are born, they will have. All civilians will have SSN. All immigrants with work permit will have SSN. Then, name is the name of the person. So I have not divided as first name. Law. What is meant by this law? This part of law. Okay. Because in US, normally all the business organizations will be located in one place called downtown. All the business offices and all will be there in downtown area. Their parking is very, very, very expensive. You will not get it. Almost it's 25 cents for 15 minutes. The parking time. And in New York downtown in the prime area, it will be more. Suppose if you go for a dinner, you have something called valet parking, that is something like $20 per hour. So food bill could be, if you go for a buffet dinner, a normal buffet dinner could cost you $10 to $15 and the parking will be $20. So that's how difficult the scenario. So what people do is every organization for its regular employees will give a fixed parking. So your so-and-so employee means the moment you join the organization, you will have your employee ID generated and your internet account will be generated, your mail ID will be generated, official mail ID, along with it a parking lot also will be allotted. So it is such an important aspect. So you can be identified with your parking lot. So that's the thing, right? So actually there was a joke, one millionaire in New York suddenly went to a bank and he said, I need some $1,000 loan. I'll pledge my Mercedes. He said, no, sir, no problem. For your credit we can. No, please pledge this. So it took, and after 2 months he returned and cleared the loan. Then they said, what is the reason, sir, you pledged this car? I said, this costly car you have pledged. And he said, I am going on a tour for 2 months. So I want to come down here. Parking will be pretty expensive. So your interest on $1,000 is much less than this parking charges. I pledge you. It will be like, just joke. Okay? So the thing is, that is the importance of your parking lot. So next slide, please. Now, associationship means the relationship means the association between two or among more entities. Relationship means it need not necessarily be between two entities. It can be among more entities, 3, 4, 5. So if there are 2 entities, it's called a binary relation. If there are 3 entities, ternary, quadruple, and any kind of entities can participate in the relation. Okay. See, here employee, the relation, works in a department. See, department has got department ID, department name, and department budget. Okay. So this is the relationship. So relationship is nothing but association among 2 or more entities. So here there is one thing. See, this rhombus is there. Rhombus represents the relationship, and any attributes that arise out of the relationship will be represented to the relationship. Okay. So you have since, but he said since, but appropriate thing will be a start date. That means so and so employee working in a department from so and so date. That since is that date. From sunset date, he starts working. Right? So this is the relationships that you have. Now, you can have a relationship onto the same entity. See, suppose you are an employee. Your boss is also an employee. So, you have a relation that, suppose I report to the registrar. I am an employee, registrar is also an employee. So, this is like an employee reports to again employee. So, it is in this case, see, so one role is supervisor, another role is subordinate. So, employee in supervisor, subordinate role reports to supervisor employee. So, it's a relationship onto the same set. Okay, this is also possible. So, collection of similar relationships is a relationship set. But physically, if you look into employee works in department, each employee, his name is working in department name. So he said that Atish works for pharmacy department. Okay. Somebody else works for chemistry department. Somebody works for computer science department. Like so, a set of all these relationships is a relationship set. Okay. So collection of similar relations is okay. And another relationship set R relates n entity sets E1, E2, etc. En. Because your employees is an entity set, department is an entity set. So these two sets have relationship, right? So relationship set means is a collection of similar relationships, and another relationship set R relates n entity sets E1 to En. Each relationship in R involves entities E1 that belongs to capital E1, E2 that belongs to etc., En that belongs to. So you pick up certain attributes from each entity set and that comes to the relationship set. Okay. The same entity set could participate in different relationship sets or in different roles in the same set. Okay. That's what the role is. Supervisor role here, the subordinate role. So the subordinate reports to supervisor. Okay. So the roles are being mentioned. Okay. One more thing here is regarding the department, you have department ID, department name and budget. Also should explain you something here. Because the functioning of departments in a corporate sector is different from that of the departments in our environment. Because there is something called budget. Because in course of time in the further examples, if you come across, you need to have this functionality concept known, otherwise it will be difficult for you to understand. The thing here is, in corporate sector, each department will have a manager and the departments will have some independence to operate their own projects. Okay, so some budget will be allotted by the management, and that budget is totally at the discretion of the manager. You can spend it. You can decide, yes, I want to go ahead like this. I want to go for the automation. Suppose you are the manager of sales department. Then you feel like, yes, I want to implement some SAP sales distribution module here. I want to develop this. I want my sales things to be like this. I want like this. Like everything is his choice. The management is not so. That doesn't mean you can act as you like. The thing is, as long as you are productive, they will give you the budget asked for you and they will support you totally. But at any point of time you fail, you will be sad. So autonomy you have implies you have more responsibility. It's up to you to. Suppose the thing is, the manager can recommend, suppose there are two people. Normally you have to work for 8 hours. The rule in the company is that 8 hours is the working time anybody should work. And maximum, if required, a person can be asked to work for 2 more hours only and overtime can be 20%. But suppose if manager feels that you are good and you can work for 14 hours or 16 hours, he can say, yes, I am allowing him to have the overtime of 12 hours per day. Whereas for him, I don't allow. The manager can say. Here in government, you can't say that. No, it's rule is rule for all. But he can say. But that doesn't mean he can give overtime to anybody as he likes. He cannot give that. But he has to substantiate for that. Because what happens is in every project, at the end of the week, you will be assessed. You will have a sheet wherein how many hours you worked on which project. You can work on multiple projects. Okay. So 5 hours I have spent for coding, 10 hours I have spent for design. And what is the outcome you will write down. What happens is every job will have some fixed hours allotted for that. Suppose some report is to be developed means it is a 40-hour job. Some other report could be 60-hour job. Some design could be 30-hour job. So every job will be timed. And you will be given those tasks. So within that 1 week, if your productivity is matching with the output as per the schedule, then you will be acceptable. Then you are acceptable. Otherwise, so that means I have given you 12 hours 40, let us suppose I permitted you to do it for 12 hours. So a 50 hours job, if you are able to complete within 4 days, and you have delivered the 50 hours job to the management successfully, then if I say, yes, I have permitted him to work for 12 hours a day, they will come. No issue, no questions. He also cannot question why you denied overtime of 12 hours to me. Why you allowed him means, yes, I have shown you the output. So at every stage, if you could show the output, you will have your discussion. So you can demand for so many millions of dollars budget. If you could convince the management, they will give you. Okay? So it's perform or perish. So that means, so that is how the departments will have their budget. So within the department budget, the management will allocate this the budget for the department. So once that department budget is allocated, it is the discretion of the manager to participate in some projects. Because subsequently you will study the aggregation involved, wherein you will have the department sponsoring the project and it is being monitored by someone. So what is this monitoring, what is the sponsorship? You will have all kind of doubts without any knowledge if you straight away go. So that's why I'm just defining you the functionality here about the component of budget. Okay? So that is how the things will be. So the manager can participate in different projects of his choice. So project is another entity. Let us suppose some ERP development is going on. Suppose material management concept is going on, ERP is, a package is being developed. So sales manager also can say, yes, I also will participate in this ERP development. I will put my own part of it. So let me have sales and distribution also. He can join that project, the software project. Maybe on 1st January, one project is being started by some department. The second department may join that project after 5-6 months. Then these are our requirements and you join. Then accordingly the budgets be done. So then that budget that is the project budget. From your department budget, you will allocate some project budget. And here, suppose a person is there. He is in a university, he is a professor. So he gets a salary from university fund. And suppose you are a consultant also. So the university has a consultancy fee. So if the person is working as a consultant also, then he will draw salary from there. Because your total salary will consist of your consultancy component as well as your teaching component. There how people are paid is, suppose I am a professor in a university. No two people will have the same. Okay. What happens is, suppose I am teaching database management systems. I can teach, and even other professors also can teach database management systems in the same department. So it is the choice of the student to choose to which professor they want. It's not mandatory that you have to study my subject. You can choose. So it's the choice of the people. And even the tuition fee will be per subject, like the tuition fee will be charged. So suppose for my database course, there are only 5 students enrolled. For somebody X is there, for his course there are 20 students enrolled. Then his earnings on the tuition are more. Similarly, they will see what consultancy I am bringing, what R&D projects I have. So they totally count my income. And in a proportionate way, they fix my fee. So a professor, very senior professor, can get only $30,000 if he confines to just normal teaching. But another professor who contributes for R&D consultancy and all will get maybe $100,000, $150,000 also. It is all based on his calendar. So here, your salary component will be drawn from different things. So that will be shown as you are doing multiple jobs and your pay is consolidated. So that is how people show up. So there is another concept you are supposed to have once you are running with this, or the employee wages and all these things. Unless you know this kind of functionality, you can't really assimilate what I am teaching and you can't understand why the design is like that. One very important aspect one should remember is to be successful in this kind of environment, you should be a very good listener. Thing is, you should very carefully listen to the client's requirement analysis. Be a good listener. Then you have to comprehend that and how different requirements are there, how different specifications are there. You have to design those specifications. Having designed those specifications, then you can translate them into a technical design. Suppose you miss any of these things, sometimes that mistake will be very costly. Sir. Because I am telling you one simple example. I will come to for me to go for the meeting. At one point of time, I explained you about employee. I was working for an insurance company. So they wanted each employee's contributions to be sent to the Social Security office. Okay. So what they did was they extracted the file with employee ID, then his contribution and everything. Because employee's contribution to health insurance and that. Suppose university, suppose organization provides some insurance for you. Suppose the insurance cost is $500 per month. Your contribution will be something like $20 and remaining $400 will be taken care of. So you will have some normal contribution. So those contributions should be sent to the provider every week or every month. So you have to send a file to them. That's called outbound interface. Because I never talked to you about the interface, batch processing and so on. Okay, I will speak to you at some leisure time about these things, how the components will work in an industry. Okay. So if you have these things in such a fashion, what happens here is insurance, right? So what happened is they have extracted the insurance information, employee ID wise, and they have sent the reports. Then that fellow rejected. That's why I explained you. For you people, roll number is internally. Once you go for scholarships, your Aadhaar ID. It happened to me. Rather it happened to somebody, and I am asked to correct that. Okay. So they have sent the things in the sorting order of employees. That fellow said, I wanted them in Social Security number. Then how do you get Social Security number? Social Security number is available in another table. So there were actually 200,000 rows in one table. and another 100,000 was in another table. And the social security numbers table is also employees and their dependents one is another 250,000. When this kind of join was there, it was just getting tagged and there was a problem with performance. So we have to go for some performance review videos. We have gone for some star schema kind of thing, right? That's a different story to separate the thing. So, but because it's a mistake simply of our Mr. Social Security number, with employee, so the entire program was scrapped. So for that program to develop, they have spent around 100 to 150 hours of development time, and that entire thing was scrapped. So it's a loss for them. So such kind of things generally people will not entertain. Then that came to me, that's also a different story about it. And that has become a origin for my PhD thesis. Just successfully did that performance unit using a warehouse model and all. That worked out well and all. That's a different story. So why I'm telling you is, as the person missed that requirement component, as he did listen to that carefully academic, a major calamity has come and they struggled for 3 to 4 months. So that is how the requirement analysis is very important in your business life, and so one has to be a good listener to be successful. So thank you very much for your time, and we will meet.